Hello and welcome to English Listening and Speaking Practice. I'm your host, Tom, and I am so happy you decided to join me today. In today's episode, we are going to talk about something that many English learners believe. It's an idea that is so common, so widespread, that it often stops people from making real progress. What is this idea? It's the belief that to become truly fluent in English, you absolutely must have a speaking partner. Maybe you believe this too. Maybe you have spent hours looking for someone to practice with. Maybe you feel stuck because you live in a country where nobody speaks English, or your friends are too busy. You might be thinking, how can I improve my speaking if I have no one to talk to? Well, today I am here to tell you some great news. That idea, the idea that you need a speaking partner to practice with every single day, is a misconception. It's a mistaken idea. And this mistaken idea has held back thousands, maybe even millions, of learners from reaching their fluency goals. It sounds logical, right? Language is all about communication, so it makes sense that you would need another person to communicate with. But I am going to show you today that you don't need another person to practice English with every single day. In fact, I am going to show you how you can develop your fluency entirely on your own. I will share with you powerful methods that you can start using today, right after you finish listening to this. And here's a secret. Practicing on your own can sometimes be even more powerful than practicing with a partner. Why? Because you decide everything. You decide the pace, the speed, the topic, and the focus. There's no pressure, no fear of making mistakes in front of someone else. It's just you and the language. So, if you've ever felt frustrated about not having a speaking partner, this episode is for you. Get ready to discover how you can unlock your English fluency all by yourself. Let's begin. First, let's talk a little more about why the old, traditional methods of practice often don't work as well as we hope. We need to understand the problem before we can find the solution. Many of us have tried language classes. You go to a classroom with maybe 20 other students. The teacher asks a question, and everyone takes a turn to answer. By the time it's your turn, you might speak for 1 or 2 minutes. And that's it. For a 1-hour class, you get only 2 minutes of speaking practice. That's not enough to build fluency. Fluency is like a muscle. You need to use it consistently to make it stronger. 2 minutes a week won't build a strong muscle. Or maybe you found a speaking partner online. This sounds great. But what often happens? You find someone who is very friendly, very nice. You have a conversation, but they don't correct you. They understand what you are trying to say, so they just nod and smile. You end up repeating the same mistakes again and again, and those mistakes become habits. Your friendly partner is helping you feel comfortable, but they are not helping you improve. Another common situation is having occasional conversations. You find someone on a language exchange app, and you have a great 30-minute chat. You feel amazing. But then, your schedules don't match up again for another week, or maybe 2. That one conversation was a nice moment of practice, but it wasn't the consistent, daily repetition that your brain needs to make English words and sentences feel natural. These methods often fall short. They leave you feeling stuck. You feel like you are not making progress, and you start to believe that maybe you just aren't good at learning languages. But that's not true. The problem isn't you, it's the method. Fluency is built by speaking consistently, again and again, every single day, until the words flow naturally from your mind to your mouth. So, what is the alternative? If classes aren't enough and partners are hard to find or inconsistent, what can we do? The answer is something called self-directed practice. Self-directed practice. It sounds a bit serious, but it's actually very simple and very freeing. It means exactly what it says. You direct your own practice. You take the lead. You become your own guide. You become the leader of your own English learning journey. With this approach, you can create a fluency system for yourself that runs every single day. You don't have to depend on a class schedule. You don't have to depend on a partner's availability. Your practice can happen whenever and wherever you want. It could be for 15 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes during your lunch break, or 30 minutes before you go to sleep. You are in complete control. This is how you build the consistency that is essential for fluency. So, what are these self-directed practice methods? I'm going to share two incredibly effective techniques with you right now. The first, and perhaps the simplest one to start with, is the inner conversation method. This means talking to yourself. But here's the important part. Not silently, in your head. You must talk to yourself out loud. You need to use your voice, move your mouth, and hear the English words. This is what connects the thoughts in your brain to the physical act of speaking. So how do you do this? There are two great ways. The first way is by narrating your actions. This means you simply describe what you are doing as you are doing it in English. Let's imagine you are in the kitchen making breakfast. You can say out loud, "Okay, I'm opening the refrigerator, I'm taking out the eggs. Now, I'm cracking the eggs into a bowl. The pan is heating up on the stove. I think I will add some cheese. I'm slicing the cheese now. I'm putting the cheese into the eggs." It might feel a little strange at first, but think about it. You are practicing grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure in a real-life context. You are turning your everyday, normal activities into English practice sessions. You can do this when you are getting ready in the morning. I'm brushing my teeth. I need to choose what to wear today. I think I will wear the blue shirt. You can do it while cleaning your room, while driving your car, or while walking in the park. This method helps you bring your inner thoughts to life in English. The second way to use the inner conversation method is by responding to content. We all watch videos, listen to music, or listen to podcasts, just like you are doing right now. Instead of just passively listening, you can actively engage with the content by talking back to it. For example, you watch a short news video on YouTube. After the video ends, pause and formulate your opinion out loud. You could say, "Well, I don't completely agree with that reporter. From my point of view, the situation is more complicated because of this and that." Or, if you agree, you can say, "That's a very interesting point. I completely agree because in my own experience." You are simulating a dialogue. You are training your brain to listen, process information, form an opinion, and then express that opinion in English. This is an incredibly powerful skill. It trains your brain to respond quickly, just like it would have to in a real conversation. So, that's the inner conversation method. Narrate your actions and respond to content you consume. It's simple, it's free, and you can do it anytime. Now, let's move on to the second method, which is especially effective for practicing the flow of a real conversation. This method is called self-dialogues. A self-dialogue is when you play both roles in a conversation. You are person A, and you are also person B. This might sound even stranger than talking to yourself, but trust me, it is one of the best ways to prepare for real-world interactions. This method allows you to practice arguments, explanations, and even storytelling. Let's say you just watched a movie. You can practice explaining the plot to a friend. You could start by asking the question, as the friend, "So, you saw the new movie? What was it about?" Then, you switch roles and answer as yourself. Oh, it was great. The main character wants to escape the city, but he doesn't have enough money. So, he has to come up with a clever plan. Then, you switch back to the friend's role and ask a follow-up question. A clever plan? Like what? What did he do? And you answer again as yourself. Well, first he tried to get a new job, but that didn't work. Then, he met this mysterious old woman who gave him a map. Do you see what's happening here? By rehearsing both sides of the conversation, you are practicing not just how to speak, but also how to listen and how to respond. You are learning the natural rhythm of an English conversation, the back and forth, the questions and answers. You are doing all of this without even needing a partner. You can use self-dialogues for anything. You can practice a job interview. You can be the interviewer and the interviewee. You can practice ordering food in a restaurant. You can be the customer and the waiter. You can practice explaining a problem you are having at work. You can be yourself and you can be your manager. This technique helps you anticipate what the other person might say and prepares you with a response. When you finally have a real conversation about that topic, you will feel much more confident and prepared. So, to recap the two methods, the inner conversation method, where you narrate your life and respond to content, and self-dialogues, where you play both roles in a conversation. These two techniques alone, if practiced regularly, will dramatically improve your fluency. Now, in our modern world, we have some amazing tools that can make self-directed practice even more powerful. We should absolutely take advantage of technology. One of the most exciting developments for language learners is the rise of AI conversation partners like ChatGPT and others. These tools are like having a speaking partner available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who is patient, knowledgeable, and will never get tired of practicing with you. You can use these AI tools to simulate almost any conversation. For example, you can give it a simple instruction like, I want you to act as a waiter in a restaurant. I will be the customer. Let's practice ordering food. And instantly the AI will respond, Good evening, welcome to our restaurant. Here is your menu. Can I get you something to drink to start? You can then have a full conversation, ordering your meal, asking questions about the food, and even dealing with a problem, like a wrong order. This gives you instant practice without waiting for a class or a partner. You can do it from your phone or computer, anytime you have a few minutes to spare. Beyond AI partners, many language learning apps now offer personalized learning paths. These apps can analyze your progress, identify your weak spots, and then suggest specific exercises or topics for you to practice next. This ensures that you are always working on the things that will push you forward the most. You're not just practicing randomly, you are practicing with a clear purpose, focusing your effort where it's needed most. So, don't be afraid to use technology. It's a fantastic supplement to the self-practice methods we've already discussed. Okay, we've talked about the problem with traditional methods, and we've talked about the solution of self-directed practice. Now, let's put it all together. How do you make this a daily habit? How do you create a daily fluency blueprint? The most important thing to remember is that a daily plan doesn't have to be complicated or take a lot of time. In fact, starting small is the key to success. Even just 15 minutes a day of focused, consistent practice can transform your fluency over time. Think about it like physical exercise. You don't build strength by going to the gym once for 3 hours and then stopping for a month, right? Of course not. You build strength by exercising a little bit regularly over weeks and months. Language learning is exactly the same. Consistency is much more important than intensity. So, here is a simple, suggested daily routine you could follow. You can adapt it to fit your own schedule. In the morning, while you are getting ready for your day, spend 5 minutes narrating your actions. I'm making my coffee now. I'm choosing my clothes for work. I need to remember to take my keys. In the afternoon, maybe during your commute or your lunch break, listen to a short English podcast or watch a short video. It could be just 5 minutes long. After you finish, spend another 5 minutes talking back to it. Add your own opinion out loud. That was an interesting story. I think the main character should have made a different decision. In the evening, before you relax, spend 5 minutes practicing a short self-dialogue. You could recount your day. Imagine you are telling a friend what happened. Hi, how was your day? Oh, it was so busy. First, I had a long meeting in the morning. Then, I had to finish a big report. That's it. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, 5 in the evening. That's 15 minutes of high-quality, focused speaking practice every single day. Anyone can find 15 minutes in their day. Another very important part of this blueprint is tracking your progress. This is so important for motivation. Here's a simple way to do it. Once a week, maybe every Sunday, record your voice on your phone. Just talk for 1 or 2 minutes about anything, your week, a movie you saw, your plans. Then, save the file and don't listen to it. After a month, go back and listen to your recording from week 1. Then listen to your recording from week 4. I promise you, you will hear clear progress. Your sentences will be smoother, you will hesitate less, and your vocabulary will be better. Seeing, or in this case, hearing, this evidence of your improvement is incredibly motivating. It will give you the energy to keep going. Finally, remember your long-term vision. Fluency is not something that happens overnight. It's not one big leap. It's something you construct, something you build piece by piece, like building a house. Every day, when you do your 15 minutes of practice, you are adding another brick to your house. Brick by brick, word by word, sentence by sentence. These consistent small efforts will eventually create something permanent and powerful, your English fluency. So, we have come to the end of our discussion today. We started with a simple but important question. Do you need a speaking partner to practice English every day? And the answer, I hope you now agree, is a clear, confident no. You can absolutely unlock fluency on your own. You have the power to do it. What do you need? You need the right methods. The inner conversation method, where you narrate your daily life, and self-dialogues, where you practice real conversations by yourself. You need the right tools, using technology like AI partners to simulate conversations whenever you want. And most importantly, you need consistency and a clear vision of where you are going. You need that daily habit, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Remember this, every single time you speak out loud in English, even if it's just to yourself in your kitchen, you are strengthening your fluency muscle. You are building the pathways in your brain that make speaking English feel more and more natural. The key message I want you to take away from our time together today is a message of empowerment. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for the perfect teacher. And you don't need to wait for a speaking partner. You already have everything you need to begin right now. The best, most reliable, most patient, and most available speaking partner you could ever have is actually yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of English Listening and Speaking Practice. I hope you found it helpful
and feel inspired to start your self-directed practice journey today. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our channel so you don't miss our future lessons. Until next time, I'm Tom. Keep practicing, and remember that you are capable of amazing things. Goodbye for now.